Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome back to our best chess games of all time series. So in this series we're following the best of the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history, and today I wanted to show a really brilliant game that was played in 2013 between the two legends of the sport, between Levon Aronian and Vishy Anand. So this game is many times called in chess history books, in some other articles and maybe in some other videos, as the Vishy Anand Immortal, and I think we have to agree this is probably the best game played by Vishy Anand, and in my opinion this is the game that I think would fit in the top 5 of all times when it comes to every game that has been played so far in chess history. This was really one of the best games of all time, so that's why of course it deserves to be on our list here, on my list of the best chess games of all times, but probably it will fit on any list of all times because this was simply Vishy Anand's immortal chess game. So let's see now this beautiful sharp attacking game between Levon Aronian and Vishy Anand. And what I always also liked about this game is that the game was played in the Semi-Slav Defense, and many times when we have seen maybe some cool games in chess history, we have seen some King's Indian, that's always a sharp opening. We have seen maybe some Knight Orcs, it's also a very sharp opening, but the Semi-Slav that Vishy Anand often played in his career, and he is really the master of the Semi-Slav, is always a static opening. In the beginning there's nothing going on, so it's really firm setup in the beginning, so you don't want to have any weaknesses in the position. Then in continuation, maybe in move 25, in move 30, something is going on, something is changing, and then maybe you have some attacking chances. But this Semi-Slav that Vishy Anand pulled off was really different. It was a dynamic Semi-Slav from the beginning, and we have here really some beautiful attacking motifs, decoys, deflections, double attacks, pawn breakthroughs, smother made ideas. So really wild stuff what happened in this game. So let's check out now Vishy Anand's Immortal here with the black pieces. So here Levon Aronian played the move d4. We have d5 by Vishy, we have c4, the queen's gambit, and after move c6 we have the Slav defense. Knight to f3, knight to f6, and after move knight to c3 we have reached now the 3 knights variation, and now the game transposes into the Semi-Slav setup. And Vishy is really the master of these openings. If you're interested into studying maybe the Semi-Slav setup, you should just watch Vishy's games because they're really incredible, especially also his games against Vladimir Kramnik in their world championship match were also in such a beautiful style that Vishy Anand played the game. So as I said, it's really incredible how Vishy plays this seemingly static openings, but then he creates really some madness in the continuation of the game. So after move e6 we have now the move e3 by Levon Aronian, which is now the normal line, and now after move knight from b2 d7 we're waiting still here from black's perspective, we're waiting now the bishop's move, and then when that happens then we have this idea d takes d4. Okay, we gain a tempo against the bishop, but we have lost a little bit here the pawn central control. What I mean about the pawn central control is now white's advantage is that white has 2 pawns in the center. Black's disadvantage is of course that you have only 1 pawn in the center, but you should not worry in the Semi-Slav structures because still this e3 d4 pawn setup can be broken with the move e5 or with the move c5. So this is now your main goal. You want to break this position because you don't want to tolerate this pawn central control of white. So here after move bishop to c4 we have now this idea b5. As said, we're gaining some spaces here on the queen side, and we're gaining also an extra tempo against the bishop. So we have bishop to d3 and now bishop to d6 also by Vishy Anand. So we have kingside castling, and now the fun already starts. So we have here queen to c2, which is perfectly fine, and which is now idea, for instance, if we get something like e4 e5 to deflect maybe the knight from the defense of the h7 and then create really some madness on this long diagonal. So what you should not do, in my opinion, here from white's perspective, is to exploit yourself immediately in the center. Many times I've seen this idea. This is in my opinion not good, although it seems like a good idea because you have now really a dominant center. But as I said, black will break your center here with the move e5, then something like a3 could happen, and now with the move a6, bishop to b7, c5. So black could have his fun here also on the queen side by playing the move c4, rook to e8. Even if you try, I don't know, something like bishop to g5, maybe to activate the bishop, you will be always challenged with the move h6. And then if you try something like bishop to h4, don't forget about this motif because this is now very dangerous. What could happen to you, d takes d4, and now for knight to d4 you have this one, queen to c7. So you see the bishop and queen battery is really dangerous here. You have to cover. Now after bishop to g3, h6 g3, but now look at this, rook into e8 is going to happen, knight to c5, knight to e5. So both of these pieces are on the d file. So it's also motif that you have to know, I think, if you're playing the Semi-Slav, that many times this bishop and the knight are getting on the same file where already the queen is, and this could cause now many tactical and position problems in white's game. So as I said, this is not good. There are of course also many different ideas that white can play, but e4 immediately is not good. You have to prepare this move. This is your main goal from white perspective, but you should not play it immediately. You should delay it a little bit and prepare more with some pieces, maybe with rook to e1 and similar stuff. So here the continuation after kingside castle, queen to c2 was played by Levon Aronian, as we said, and now bishop to b7. The idea is many times in the Semi-Slav structures to play a6 and then to break, as we said, as promised, with c5 or with e5. So here in the continuation we have now a3, we have rook to c8, and now the fun already starts. We have here knight to g5 by Levon Aronian, and there is now this line which is tempting, which has been played many times in chess history, this move, bishop takes h2, but this is also something that you should not do, in my opinion, from black perspective. The game becomes too simplified for white, although it's a great tactic. It seems like a dangerous idea, but actually white can take after king takes h2. Okay, you get your piece back with here king to g3. Of course it's not working because you get this one, queen to g5, and now you cannot take out the knight, so that's why you have to play king to g1. Okay, black will take out also your knight on g5, but now with f3, and here knight to e3 is again not working because you get simply queen to f2, so you lose the piece. So that's why you have to retreat to f6. But now with e4, I think this could be a good game here for white. White gets an extra tempo against the queen. The queen has to move now to h5, and you see now you don't have any good squares here for the queen, and now the bishop, the dark square bishop, is becoming the best piece on the board. And now finally black has here some problems because white has gained this pawn center control, will also expand probably with the move e5, and then this bishop and queen battery is also working. The bishop is dangerous here, f4 could be happening. So as I said, this is not a pleasant game for black, although the engine gives here equal chances. But I would love now to play, I think, this position from white's perspective. So this is not the way to go. So as I said, bishop to h2 seems tempting, but leads into a much better position, I think, for white. So after move knight to g5, Vishy plays now really brutal move. He plays the move c5, and now, as we said, the fun starts. What to do here? Here the continuation, Levon Aronian simply takes knight takes h7. Probably you could also take with bishop to h7, but then again the game leads into complications. After king to h1, you have to play something like f4, because if you play something like, I don't know, bishop to d3, if you retreat, then you get this one, as we said, bishop to h2, king to h2. And now this idea is a little bit different, because notice now there is now the tension on dark squares. This is now a different story. Pay good attention, because now if you play king to g1, as we said, if you play queen to g4, queen to g5, pardon me, if now f3 happens, then we can take, because now if you want to pin me here with the queen, this is now a similar position but not the same. We can still support our knight with now the pawn, and as I said, now everything is pretty much compact for black, and black would have a solid game. So as I said, you should be really careful in this position. Sometimes these tactics are working, sometimes these tactics are not working. So after move knight to g5, here, as we said, c5 was played by Vishy Anand. We have knight to h7, and now we have knight to g4 here by Vishy Anand. He's attacking also here the pawn on h7. Again, this idea is not working anymore, because after king to h2, knight to g4, actually king to g3 is now working, because you don't have now this move queen to g5, because the knight is of course covering this square. So now this tactic is not working, because black is losing simply one piece. So what you could do here maybe is to play the move c4 instead of knight to g4 that Vishy played. But now after knight to f6, black get challenged. You have to take knight to f6, and now with bishop to e2, white can retreat and is hoping for the best. Has of course also an extra pawn and can defend, I think, this position easily. Again, bishop takes h2 with knight to g4 is not working, because the bishop is now covering the square. So as I said, this is something worth to study. It's really dynamic position already. You see how many traps can happen in the early stage of the game, although as I said in the beginning, the Semi-Slav is supposed to be sort of a static solid opening, but you see everything can explode in such a beautiful way. So here in the continuation, as we said, knight to g4 was played by Vishy Anand, so he played now very an aggressive counterplay here against this square h2. So in the continuation, we have now f4. You have to cover now this diagonal. For instance, if you play here something like knight to f8, then you get this one, bishop to h2. You have to get your king here, and now after queen to h4, you are getting checkmated. You can just prolong the game by playing rook to d1. But now with bishop to g3, we have this cover check. You can play then queen to h2. Now again a new check, because of course the bishop is supporting, so it's now just a forced checkmate sequence that leads into this position. After queen to f2, it's game over. So as I said, you could maybe instead of this move f4 that Levon Aronian played, he should not have played probably f4. He should have played e3, pardon me, h3, kicking away the knight, and this game would be probably equal again. But this is the only way to protect now this position. This was really a dirty trap that Vishy Anand prepared, and now in the continuation we have queen to h4 as the main goal. Again, you cannot take because of the checkmate on h2, but now this can be protected with the move f4. So you should play a little bit different move order here from white's perspective. Now after move f4, black can play, and of course, c takes d4, attacking also the knight here on the c file. But now with knight to f8, we have knight to f6, getting out of the range of the knight. And now in the continuation again, black get challenged with the move knight to h2. Now we have this one, d takes c3. After knight to f6, we would reach now this position, in which of course black is down in the exchange, but has now really beautiful activity with this bishops, with the queen, with the potential knight activity here. Has also some fun here on the c file, so it will be slightly better position when it comes to computer relations for white. But when it comes to practical play, I think also that black could have really some fun, and could really have some attacking formations, attacking opportunities against this naked king. So this is something that probably Levon Aronian missed. So as I said, here in this position he should have played h3, then after queen to h4 he should have played simply f4. So here in the continuation, f4 was immediately played, but now it's a different story, because after c takes d4, we have now e takes d4, and now comes the stunner of the game. Maybe you can pause the video and try to see now the best continuation here for black. It's really incredible what Vishy Anand saw here. It's such a wild attack that he has prepared here, and I think that somewhere Vishy Anand prepared this at home. This is something that I have to probably study deeper and deeper at home with some computers, with some other possibilities, maybe with some co-workers. This is simply, I think, such a destructive method that Vishy Anand played here. After moves e takes d4, now comes the stunner, as we said, bishop to c5. And what to do here? For instance, if you take d takes c5, then you get knight to c5, and the problem is now the bishop is attacked. And if you move the bishop to e2, the problem is now you get this one, queen to d4, and if you play king to h1, then you get this idea, the smarter mate idea, because you have to take now. If you don't take, then you get the smarter mate, as we said, with queen to g1. This would be a beautiful method, and knight to f1, because notice after move bishop to e2, the queen is not covering the f2 square. So what you could do maybe here, as we said, is to take rook takes f2, but now after queen to f2, again, you don't have good defense against this checkmate on g2, so you're getting checkmated for sure. So again, this is not working simply here for white. So what you could do maybe is to play queen to e2, counter attack, but now after queen to d4, we can play this one, and now we can also take knight takes d3. The queen has to take now, and here we can also take out this one, and then again knight to f2 would be a serious threat. You have to defend this now with queen to g3, but now with knight to c1, rook to c1, this will be a slightly better position for black. And okay, maybe white can defend this position and hope for the best. The materials is about equal, but of course with a much more powerful bishop than the knight on c3. So as I said, this was again the only way to prolong the game. But what after move bishop to c5, Levon Aronian did, he played bishop to e2, and now we have a beautiful move, knight to e5 here immediately by Vishy Anand. The problem is now if you play f takes e5, then you get a beautiful smother made again, because queen to d4 is going to happen. If you play king to h1, then you get queen to g1, rook to g1, and now knight to f2 is again a beautiful checkmate. So you see how dirty these ideas by Vishy Anand were, really some wild tactics that he prepared here in the game. So after move knight to e5, that's why we have bishop takes g4, but now we have bishop to d4, the king has to step back, and now after knight to g4 again we have some ideas of queen to h4, and then to deliver checkmate on on h2. So here knight to f8 was played. Even if you try some ideas of knight to g5 to finally escape with the knight, then you get knight to f6, you have to again retreat with the knight on f3, but now we can take out this one, b takes c3, and now with queen to c7, white is again challenged on the c file. Black is much better. We have here a c file attack, the bishop can be included into the game, the knight can be also very dangerous. So it's, I think, a strategically lost game here for white. So but in the continuation, after move knight to g4, Levon Aronian took now the rook, and now f5. This was now beautiful move by Vishy Anand. Again, really so many beautiful ideas that Vishy showed us here, because again you could make a mistake and play something like king to f8, and then the game is not so easy to play again, because queen to h7 is going to happen, and now you couldn't maybe have your main goal, you couldn't play then queen to h4. So this was something that I think you could have missed if you're playing the game now from Black's perspective. But Vishy plays now the correct move, plays first the move f5, and he's supporting the knight, and he's now getting the queen here, because even if you try, let's see, after move knight to g6, even if you try, instead of that, if you play something like h3, then you get queen to h4, and let's see, possible continuation, knight to g6, then you get this one, queen to h3, checkmate. Look at this, you cannot take, you cannot also escape, so the bishop pair is working really in a beautiful way. So this is not possible for white. So that's why here Levon Aronian tried knight to g6, tries of course to not allow like here the queen on h4 move, but now of course after queen to f6 you have to play h3, and now again queen to g6 is completely winning, because even if you take h6 g4, then you get here checkmated with queen to h6. So this is not possible. So that's why here in the continuation we have queen to e2, attacking now the knight in a different way, but now again queen to h5 here by Vishy Anand. Again he's trying this move, queen takes h3. So that's why queen to d3, and now comes really the stunner of the game, bishop to e3, and in this position Levon Aronian resigned, because if you take of course with this bishop, then of course queen to h3 again leads into a checkmate here on g2. So it was really great tactics, getting this bishop in between, not allowing the connection between the queen and the pawn on h3, and in this position Levon Aronian resigned. So a really beautiful chess game, immortal chess game by Vishy Anand. I'm not sure what to say. It's once in a lifetime that I think you play a game like this. Incredible tactics that Vishy prepared here, especially also against a great tactician like Levon Aronian. So this is what makes this game really immortal, really beautiful. In my opinion, it's probably in the top 5 of all times, if not maybe even higher. Probably one of the best games of all time. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. I have seen it many times. I wanted to also do my own coverage of this beautiful sharp attacking game. If you want to see more attacking brilliances like this, check out my commented chess games, also some other games played by top grandmasters, the best chess games of all times. And if you want to see maybe some top engines battling it out in their best brutal chess games, check out my commented chess games played by computer series, with some games played by Stockfish, Alpha Zero, Lila Zero, Drang Engine, and many more. And if you like this content, you can also subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.